innovating for a greener economy. Across the UK, different industries are rethinking how they operate in a world where sustainability is no longer optional. The drive to reduce waste, emissions, and environmental impact is reshaping entire sectors. It's a story of innovation, collaboration, and commitment to a greener, more sustainable future. In today's programme, Executive TV will speak to companies across a wide range of sectors, explore their sustainability goals, and what a future of innovation looks like. Nofence is the world's first commercially available virtual fencing solution for livestock, using GPS tracking, sound saves, and solar technology.
Nofence started back in 2011. It was founded by a goat farmer, Oskar Hovde, and his vision was really that fencing is an unnatural constraint to animals, and we really want animals, and livestock in particular, to graze without any boundaries. With less boundaries, we can also let livestock graze more like nature intended, kind of utilize natural processes and patterns in how they move around. Since it started, Nofence has grown super rapidly, and we're now 90 employees, mostly based out of Norway, but we've sold more than 150,000 collars across Norway, UK being our second market, Spain, Ireland, and the US.
The Nofence system is partly a collar that is worn by cattle, sheep or goat, and this collar is equipped with GNSS or GPS receivers that enable it to know this precise location, and it also has capabilities to connect to the cellular network to interface with our app.
Stellium data centers provide data center and connectivity services for companies operating across a wide range of sectors, including energy, internet services, and visual media.
We were founded in 2016. Our first customer walked through the door in 2017. We're one of the larger campuses here in the UK for data center services, based on Cobalt Business Park in Newcastle. Cobalt Business Park is one of the larger business parks within the country. Why people choose Stellium really is the availability of power and space that we have here in Newcastle. We also have an abundance of clean renewable energy here within the zone. And I think Stellium is one of the more modern data centers. We provide liquid cooling. We can provide a number of different technologies to our customers over some of our competitors. A lot of data centers are starting to move out of town now, so out of the larger cities. And I think Stellium's a great representation of the new modern data centers that we're starting to see now.
Nylacast Group is a world-leading innovator in the design, development, and supply of precision-engineered polymer solutions.
So the product Nylacast produces is an engineering thermoplastic that has the opportunity for any byproducts within the process to be recycled, and that helps from a circular economy perspective, as the material in question can have a second life and can be used for components where the change in material properties through recycling is not detrimental to the performance of the product in application.
Nylacast started in 1967 with the premise of developing applications for customers. That was mainly done through enhancing efficiency and effectiveness, therefore driving the key drivers for sustainability. We did that by having a deep understanding of the customer's application, and that involved not only understanding what the customer wanted, but understanding why they wanted it.
Our products are designed to be lighter weight, replace heavier traditional materials like metal, and in turn this helps our customers to reduce their energy consumption, reduce waste, improve their fuel efficiency, and extend product life cycles. So at Nylacast we combine over 50 years of engineering expertise with a forward view of supporting continuous sustainability.
Today's consumers expect businesses to act responsibly, making sustainability a central demand.
The kind of customers and industries that use our data centers are pretty far reaching, to be honest with you. We have education, we have police forces, we have public sector, we have some of the largest tech companies in the world. I would say that a data center attracts nearly everybody that uses applications or has sensitive information. If I look back in my career, 10, 15 years ago, many banks and industries had data centers, or what they supposedly called a data center within their own building. They were normally in the basement somewhere. What's happened is that the power is too high for that now. Security requirements and factors really mean that they should be living in a site like Stellium, a tier 3 data center, with security, the availability of power, and the redundancy. So the redundancy of power is key. Should you lose your power, how do your computers or your business stand up? And that comes through the design of a data center, through resiliency, through the mechanical and electrical infrastructure that we have on site to keep our customers up and running 24/7, 365 days a year.
One of the key benefits of our polymer conversions is that uptime on clients' equipment tends to increase. By having that increased uptime, it means their OEE can increase and therefore the capacity. So customers can therefore get benefits where they don't necessarily need to invest in additional equipment, or they can delay that additional investment for longer because they're getting more out of the equipment that they've already got.
Early engagement with the client regarding their needs helps us understand the requirements of the product life cycle, and that's both from a technical perspective and also from a financial perspective, so we can understand the demands of the application and the cost associated with providing an adequate solution for that.
In the UK, we see three main examples or ways where farmers are benefiting specifically from adapting virtual fencing. And the first one I'd like to mention is conservation grazing. So looking at bringing cattle onto land that you need to maintain for biodiversity or other purposes. And you have like parks in the middle of London or other places. In many of these places, you are not allowed to put up physical fences. So it allows to graze and maintain the land in a better way than what we can do with human resources and machines. And then the other example would be the highland farmers. So in the UK, we have clear, distinct upland farmers who would graze hills or massive pieces of land, and they can use the system to keep their cattle on new lands and longer on the hills, meaning they can reduce the amount of feed they need to produce. That reduces the cost for them, and it makes the business better, right? Because there's more on the bottom line for the farmer. And then the last example is those farmers adapting regenerative practices. So you see farmers are going from set stocking, or which means no rotation, but going to then rotating the cattle. So giving them access to fresh grass and then making sure that the grass behind them can rest and regrow, which maintains the soil and improves productivity and efficiency on the farm.
So one of the great things about moving from an analog system to a digital system is that we could actually understand the interactions the animals had with the virtual boundary. Before we were just guessing a bit, but now with Nofence we get reports of audible noises if they receive any pulses. And what we've seen is that actually there's a big difference between different animals. So animals that are more higher up the hierarchy tend to be a bit more confident with the system. They'll get more audible noises. They'll actually graze on an area where they hear the noise, but they know it's not gone far enough in order to get a correction. So they'll be a lot more confident. So this data that we get now can help us inform our grazing and also help us build the group dynamics of each herd. So we sometimes graze with groups of 4, sometimes groups of 60. And we want to create a decent hierarchy system so that the animals feel secure, and if we need to catch them or move them, we know that they'll follow the matriarch that we put in the herd.
Sustainability is not just an environmental issue, but an economic necessity.
For Nofence, sustainability really means that the way that the current generations are using the resources on the earth leaves the next generations in an equal or better position to use the resources as well. And Nofence really contributes to a couple of elements here, especially the implementation of rotational grazing, which is greatly enabled by a virtual fence, really improves soil quality, which then further accelerates grass growth, sequesters carbon from the air, and also controlling your grazing patterns is also very beneficial for biodiversity, and you can much more easily protect endangered species by having exclusion zones that might be harder with the regular physical fencing. In agriculture, moving towards regenerative practices can really be helpful both for the environment and for the sustainability of our resources, but also for the bottom line of the farmer. But to do so, oftentimes it needs both slight change in the incentives for the farmers or the subsidies available, and also, of course, making the farmers themselves aware of the solutions that are out there and that can help them implement these practices even more effectively.
The way that we endeavour to drive sustainability, stroke waste reduction and waste mitigation, is firstly to ensure the product absolutely does the job that it's designed to do. Secondly, that it has a significant lifetime. It's not quickly replaced. It's absolutely not single use. Some of the products we're producing have lifetime requirements in excess of 60 years, and they're generally in very demanding environments. You can't just take it as, do I recycle, do I minimize use of energy, do I switch lights off? All of that is a given for me. That's absolutely a requirement of being a good social citizen. But as a CEO of an engineering company, I have a lot more opportunity than many people to truly make differentiation in sustainability.
Back in 2023, as an example, we made the decision as a business that all of our electricity in the UK would be from renewable sources. We also have a continuous improvement work stream where we look to carry out continuous reviews of our processes, and things that we've improved as part of that are looking at how we reduce the amount of material that goes into the products that we make. So sometimes that is working with customers and perhaps changing their design. Other times it is around designing improved tooling so that our castings are customised, so we put less material into them. Each year we conduct an annual procurement review to make sure that the activities that we're doing still fits our strategy, and things do change over time, so it's to make sure it's still appropriate. As part of that, we do a vendor assessment rating where we look at our suppliers, and in 2024 we added to that criteria where we added in effectively an environmental aspect to that. The result of that is now when we look at our supply chain, over 50% of them are all accredited to ISO 14001. That helps us as we move forward and review sourcing decisions. As part of those sourcing decisions, we need to ensure that our procurement team understands the importance of sustainability. So we have done training programs with them so that they understand how they can impact sustainability on a day-to-day basis.
Sustainability to us as Stellium, from a high level point, is really the energy that we bring into this site. It's very difficult around the country to guarantee that you have clean and renewable energy. Luckily here in the northeast of England, we are probably 6 miles away from some of the largest wind banks, not only in the country, in the world. We have Dogger Bank and Blythe here that are producing huge amounts of energy. And that energy really, in the future, will power data centers and facilities like Stellium. So sustainability is key to us. Sustainability is even more important to our customers. Many of the customers that we currently deal with or have as customers, they wouldn't be here if we couldn't prove our sustainability metrics or deliver 100% clean renewable energy. Customers that are utilizing huge amounts of power in the data center, it's really important that that energy is sustainable and renewable. Now, we purchase through the government through what is called REGO, REGO, and that's the government's renewable energy procurement service. So that's rubber stamped by the government to say that we have renewable energy, 100% green and clean, being utilized within the site here. From talking to the governments and certain agencies, the requirements and the metrics will start to change around how data centers deliver this power and understanding what power you are using at any one time. So I think the whole industry and the government and everybody involved in the world of data centers and AI understands that we're now one of the largest commodities in the world. We're one of the largest utilizers of power. So I think there'll be different regulations that change in the future, which ensure that data centers are always using 100% renewable and green energy.
Industries across the UK are increasingly turning to renewable energy, electrification, and circular systems to cut emissions.
All our colours are equipped with solar panels, so both the cattle and the sheep and goat, and this enables us to harvest solar energy and keep our colours to operate throughout the full grazing season. And how we do this, it's pretty simple, is thanks to the solar panel in addition of the batteries. During summer months and days where the solar intensity is bigger, we're able to recharge the batteries to almost full capacity. And then thanks to efficient software and electronics, in winter months where there's not as much sun, we're able to use little of the battery to be able to hold the full grazing season. And this enables our customers to not have to attend to their animals once they're out in the field.
Sustainability in general, and in agriculture specifically, is no longer optional. It's an urgent matter. We're currently using our resources in a way that aren't leaving the next generations in a better position than us. If you look at climate change, biodiversity, or soil degradation, they're all accelerating in the wrong direction, thereby threatening the long-term viability of our food production system.
Probably the biggest misconception I have in my industry is I'm in the plastics industry, and you cannot switch the television on for a day without someone is concerned about sustainability, environmental damage from single-use plastics. My comment to people would be single-use anything is not good. The challenge you have is single-use plastics don't degrade, and for that reason it probably has more bad press than single-use paper or single-use anything else.
Some of our proprietary materials that we produce have enhanced capabilities that bring numerous benefits to our customers. So as an example, some of our materials, they are self-lubricating, which means that a customer therefore doesn't need to apply oils and greases to their products when it's in service, which could contaminate the environment that they're working in. One of the biggest benefits of converting metallic products to a polymer, such as PA6, is the weight saving benefits. So that's becoming increasingly important to customers because they can get other benefits out of their equipment as a result of it.
Data centers can benefit renewable energy projects because we are one of the largest utilizers of that power. So I think you're starting to see now energy projects come up around data centers, where that wasn't the case before. Data centers had to go where the energy potentially was. That's starting to change now. And so data centers are moving out of the larger cities for various different requirements. And coming into places like Newcastle, where Stellium is, or Wales, where other data centers are. We're understanding that we have to be where that energy is, and that the energy has to be where the data centers are. So I think that we both work in tandem in from a data center perspective and a power perspective. That now, if I look around me, there's organizations that are putting solar in, there's organizations that are giving data centers options for energy, and that's really important. Transitioning to renewable energy use is absolutely key within the data center. Stellium has utilized 100% renewable energy since our inception, and we will continue to do so. Data centers really have to run on sustainable and renewable energy. Part of that is public perception. Part of that is customer requirements. There's a number of ways that happens, and there's a number of routes that data centers can take, whether it's carbon initiatives, or whether it's actually understanding that the power you're bringing into your site is 100% renewable and sustainable. And that's the benefit we have here at Stellium and in the Northeast.
Innovation drives progress, enabling industries to evolve while embracing sustainable solutions.
The current state of the data center industry in the UK has changed phenomenally over the past few years. And I've been in the industry for close to 10 years now. We've seen a number of changes that maybe the public haven't seen. So for many years, hyperscale customers, and when I use the word hyperscale, I refer to the likes of Amazon, Microsoft, Facebook, and Oracle. The main technology companies that were providing cloud and data services were really the higher level customers that data centers were after. That has changed fundamentally over the past year with the adoption of artificial intelligence and AI. And you've seen a number of larger organizations come in looking for the same kind of space and power that the hyperscale organizations were after, as much as the enterprise customers, the banks, the organizations that would traditionally be in a data center. So I think AI has substantially changed the data center landscape. They require huge amounts of power, huge amounts of space, and they require the technology to deliver the technology that their products or services are based on. I think we all see with the growth and adoption of data centers and artificial intelligence within the world we live in, the key requirement is power that's being pulled. And I think that the world has to understand that we will require sustainable energy within all these large data centers now to be happy that the AI and the technology that we're using is being run the right way.
Innovation is about changing processes, people, applications to enhance the current status is. Effectiveness and efficiency are great words that are frequently used together. For me personally, effectiveness always comes before efficiency. You have to make sure that your product adds value in terms of the application for the consumer, for the customer. Innovation starts with the deep understanding of the customer or the consumer's application. Once we've gained that deep understanding, we need then to develop formulations, effectively chemistry, to provide the material properties we want. You will only get material properties by processing that chemistry in an effective way. So the strengths that we have in our business are chemistry, also process technology, and that allows us to produce material properties which we can then use in our designs, which are outperforming other people, and by doing that we have an opportunity to produce a better design of product. So innovation and sustainability for me are absolutely linked. When we innovate, our key driver here is to reduce waste in the supply chain, and that comes from two areas. Firstly, ensure that the product is optimal for the application, namely it does the job to the best of its ability. And the second one is that we ensure that we minimize any waste in our supply chain.
Innovation to me is not just about solving complex technical issues, but it's about really solving a problem that our farmers have, and this by doing it very in an efficient and simple way for them to create a long-lasting value on their farm operation, but also for the environment. What we're doing is really replacing a resource and labor-intense older system that is physical fences with a more flexible and intelligent virtual fence system. What Nofence really sees as innovation is to be able to empower our users, the farmers, to be able to do a lot more with less. It's less cost, it's less labor, and it's also less impact on the environment, but it unlocks efficiency, it unlocks profitability for their farm operations, and also for them to utilize the full scale of their lands. Virtual fencing by itself ensures a well better animal welfare for the livestock than physical traditional fences, because you remove the need to have barriers or electrical wires, which tends to or harm the animals or make the livestock get stuck in it, which is really bad.
The future will be shaped by businesses that embrace circularity. Growth will be measured not just by profit, but by the positive impact left behind.
Manufacturing has had a skills gap, and that has tended to be caused by not enough people entering the industry, and then skilled people leaving, particularly after downturns or things such as the COVID pandemic, where people perhaps had a career change. One of the really pleasing things when I joined Nylacast was to see that we'd got our own training academy, and that was set up over 10 years ago, and since then over 100 employees or apprentices have graduated through that process. We've also got a dedicated training team, so even after our apprentices have graduated, we still then continue to train the workforce, and that's really important as we grow as a business, because if we were reliant on recruiting from external areas, that can be more challenging.
I see Stellium over the next few years really developing as a main data center campus within the UK. We're starting to see data centers that have plans to be built, within miles of this site that we're in now. And so I think Stellium as a campus will continue to grow. We're one of the larger campuses in the UK. We can deliver the kind of products and services that our customers need. And we're at the forefront of delivering the deployments around liquid cooling and immersion cooling as well. It's proven that we can do it in here, and we have customers that undertake that. So I think you'll look at Stellium in a few years' time as one of the more modern data centers that the country has, and really the home of AI and the home of cloud computing.
There's a balance between productivity and responsibility to really ensure that ecosystems remain both healthy and productive for generations to come. So in the coming years, we expect more farmers to start adopting this technology. It's really fascinating to talk with the customers that we have already, and they say that they could never imagine going back to the old way of doing livestock management after having a virtual fence at their fingertips. At Nofence, we're convinced that kind of the new way to do livestock management is with virtual fencing, due to the flexibility and the control that you get. Going forward, we'll work a lot to make even more value for the farmers on the data that we're capturing from each individual animal, but also on the herd level to make more informed decision for the farmer. Lastly, I really hope that virtual fencing can contribute to remove some of the bad recognition that livestock has gotten as part of a sustainable food production system, but really showing that if you have the right technological solutions, you can implement the practices where livestock is and should actually be an integrated part of a sustainable food production system.
Sustainability in the UK is more than a trend or mere buzzword. It's a blueprint for the country's future. From farms to factories to data centres, industries are finding new ways to thrive while protecting the planet.